Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our Chavruta sessions live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. The rabbis in the class already, which is great. And I see we're joined by Ange, Vincent, Bart, Helen, and Martina so far. And those of you that have the link are welcome to come and join. Let me just pin the rabbi large here, and let's just jump right in. Shalom, Rabbi. You're live on the air. We're going to turn the class over to you, and I make sure I mute my mic so you guys don't get that echo. It's just learning the software. So, Rabbi, the class is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening from Jerusalem. Hope everything is fine with everybody. I hope so. We're in an interesting era, and we need to know that, to remember that. It's not a magic time. It's a time that we're doing a lot of things and changing things. Things that were regular for the last 100 years now changing. So we need to know that. I think there is a lot of hypocrites ideas that are running here in our time. For example, I will give an example. Okay. You go to El Giuliani, okay, the leader in Damascus, in Syria. He is part of the ISIS. He never left the ISIS idea, okay? He's training his people that they need to capture Jerusalem, but they don't have the possibility today. Fair enough. But, it's like, and they're saying all the time, I don't know, if you know that there's the Khaybar. You know what Khaybar is? Khaybar is that Muhammad, okay, the founder of the Muslims, he tried to kill the Jewish community of the Jews in Khaybar. It's a place in South Arabian, and he didn't have the possibility. So he did with them some sort of an agreement. And after 2 or 3 years after that, when he had the possibility, he went there and he slaughtered all of them. He raped the women, he killed the babies, he did a lot of horrible things. And they learned from that, okay? This is one of the differences between the Hebrew and the ideas and the others. They learn from that they need to do this on the same idea, to all the time to educate the people in the jihad way, but not to do it in the time that they can't do it, only to use it when they can use it. And I'm saying that there's a difference between the Hebrew nation and the rest of the people, the rest of the religions. It's mainly through the idea that in the Hebrew tradition also the prophets did mistakes as human beings. Okay, we need to remember that. In the Hebrew tradition, it might be that even a prophet will do a mistake. For example, the most known story is with Moses. Okay, that he did a sin. If it's okay about that, you will quiet yourself. It's okay. I'm sorry. It is. I did it. Okay, fine. Excellent. Thank you. So Moses, for example, God is not allowing him to go inside to the promised land because he did a sin. Now, the Torah is not telling us exactly the sin that he did, but we know that he wasn't pure from all sins. I'm sure that he also did repentance, okay, or what we call tshuva, not repentance, even more than repentance. And it says also in Vayetchanan, in Deuteronomy, that he did repent, that he did tshuva, and he cried and he begged God to go back. Now, think about this for a moment. Moses managed to go back to his people in Egypt, to gather all of them, to take them out miraculously from Egypt, to go through the sea in a miracle way, to pass those 40 years, okay, in the desert, but he didn't have the possibility of going to the promised land. It's already hinted in the beginning of the journey. I will show you. You know what? Let's see things, okay? So let me share the screen for a moment with a bit of of the Bible. You can't see my screen yet? Okay. In a moment, you will see my screen. So we need to go first to chapter 5 in Exodus. Let me share the screen. Where is it? Here it is. Let me share the screen for a moment, and it will be much clearer. I will show you where it is being hinted, okay? This idea of Moses. On chapter 5, now you can see my screen, right? Can all see my screen? Yes? Just do me a thumbnail or something. You can see my screen. Excellent, excellent. So here, in chapter 5, God is asking Moses to go to Pharaoh and to tell him, let my people go so they will be able to serve me in the desert. Okay. Now, not only that, the Pharaoh is not sending the people. Pharaoh is even bringing more hard work on the Jewish people. Okay. You can read it for a minute here. Just a moment. When they come to him in verse 4.
Okay, so we're in Exodus.
Verse 8, please.
Okay, Exodus chapter 5, verse 8. But the number of bricks they have been making yesterday and the day before yesterday, you shall impose upon them. You shall not reduce it, for they are lax. Therefore, cry out, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our God.
Okay, so this is the situation, and this is what's happening. And after that, all the Israelite, I will say, in charge, the people that are in charge from the Israelite people, of the Israelite nation, are very hard with Moses. Okay, when they are crying to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh is saying to them, I'm not going to give you all of this. And this is where in verses, let's read from verse 20 till the end of this chapter before we go into the next
All right,
please.
Verse 20. They met Moses and Aaron standing before them when they came out from Pharaoh's presence. And they said to them, may the Lord look upon you and judge, for you have brought us into foul odor in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants, to place a sword into their hands to kill us. So Moses returned to the Lord and said, O Lord, why have you harmed this people? Why have you sent me? Since I have come to Pharaoh to speak your name, he has harmed his people, and you have not saved your people.
So now we see that Moses is speaking, I will say, hard words against God. He's not accepting this. Now, if we will look on this in a different way, in a different angle, it's very easy for us to speak now, because we know the continuance of this story. The continuance of this story is that the Hebrew people are going out from Egypt. Okay, but at this point of time, where everything is even much harder before the big redemption that the Hebrew nation is going to be outside, and they don't know yet what will happen. Think about the people that were in the Holocaust. Okay, they saw all the families, the friends, being killed and being burned in the crematoriums there in those places. They didn't know that another 2 years or 2 years later, 2 years after that, there will be a Jewish state. They didn't know that in those times. Today, it's much easier for us. We say, what happened in history. But at this point of time, it was really hard for them. And Moses is really speaking hard against God or in front of God. Okay, saying to him, why are you harming those people? Why are you doing this to us? And the answer of God is very interesting. Now, people don't know, or I will say it like that. There are some secrets of the Hebrew nation that were not going outside. Now let's see them in a very clear way. Okay. Now let's read only verse 1. It will be enough, please. There is one word here that people don't really realize that it's written down or not really looking at it. or they're looking at this not in the right way. We'll say it like that. Do it now. When God is saying to us, now you will see, so He's hinting already, you will see only them going out from Egypt, but you won't see them going inside to the promised land. You will see only the things that's happening now. You won't see already the things that when you're going out, when they're going also inside to the promised land. This you won't see. Even though, in the continuance of those verses, God is promising him that they will come back to their homeland. Okay? I will establish my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan. Okay? What I promised their parents. Okay? Even though it's already written down here with this very small word. Now you will see, but you won't see the full promise. And then this is what's happening. But in the mindset of the Hebrew nation is that prophets might do mistakes. This was one of the. It's not. Our sages are not saying that this was the main mistake. That because of that he didn't go to Israel. The truth is that the Torah is not telling us why Moses or what exactly was the mistake that Moses didn't had the possibility of going inside to the Hebrew land. Okay, the Torah is not giving us. And one of our sages is saying very nicely, 400 years ago, he's saying, because the Torah was hidden, didn't told or didn't expose what was the mistake that Moses did. Because of that, he didn't he didn't lead the Hebrew people to the Canaan, to the Hebrew land. Because of that, each sage found something else, and suddenly we have that Moses did 21 options of his sin. Okay, he did a lot of sins. If the Torah would have told us, so we will know it's only one sin, but no. But there is a principle in the Hebrew tradition. You can be a prophet, the biggest prophet, the perfect prophet, but still it might be that you will do mistakes, and you will pay for that. In the eyes of the mainly in the eyes of Christianity and also in the eyes of the Muslims, a prophet can't do mistake. And in the eyes of Christianity, it's clear because the prophet is also part of God, right? He is God that became a human being here, all those things. So for them, it's sure, of course, he won't do any mistakes. In the eyes of the Muslims, it's much more hard to explain that because Muhammad, it's written down in the Quran, a lot of hard things that he did. Okay? With you can read it by yourself. I don't need to say that. You can use the AI today and you will have all the answers. Okay? I don't need to say all the things that he did. But when they saying that we need to imitate everything that the prophet did, so this is where they're saying in some sort of a way that they can do the same things. Now you're starting to realize why there is also this brutal thing that they did in 7/11. 7/11 also, but also in the 9/11. It's also what they did also in 7 of October to us, because they did a lot of horrible things. Okay, and it's all, you can find it all on the internet, because they wanted to also to show this to the world. Okay, so they took. I'm saying with a laugh, but I'm a bit, I don't know how to share it in a good way. They took infant kids in the age of 3 months, 5 months, not in one place, in a few places. They put them alive inside the oven and opened the oven. They raped people, ladies and boys. They took off the head. One of the people that we brought back was only his head, because they took they took only his head, not the body. All sorts of awful things. Now, all those things are written down there. And they're saying they're imitating the prophet. I will say like that. The world of the old world, okay, of the idolatry, basically they were very much worshipping When we saying they were worshipping idolatry, they were worshipping the laws of the nature. And then we moved up one level. The humanity moved up one level. And we started also to worship or to admire people that came in our eyes to the level of prophecy. And now we're moving to the next level and we're starting to admire the real God, the one God, the real God. And this is a different level already. So we started with this, what's happening today in Syria, okay? But this is one of the hypocrite things that's happening. I can say that it's happening also because there is a very important, I will say, idea that is changing. We're trying to change. I will say it like that. There is a big fight. Okay, look at the things in this way. And what I'm saying now, it will explain a lot of things. There's a very big fight today between the good and bad, good and evil, and there is I will say, in some sort of a way, trying to reduce the hegemony between China and Russia, that is giving all the, say, gas and fuel, whatever it is, to Europe, and they're trying to build up a new way from India through the Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel to Europe. And this is part of the fight that is here, okay, between everything. Another thing that's happening, and I can show you now. I don't want to expose him. He wrote very nice, very interesting things. Another thing that's happening now is a big question about Europe and what's happening with Europe, because unfortunately, in Europe, there is a very big wave today that is like committing suicide in Europe. If I will ask Bart, or if I will ask Helen, 2 places in Europe, okay, one in the east, one in the west, is it possible to celebrate the next coming few Christian holidays outside in public? It's not so easy, right, Bart?
Not so easy. Culturally, well, you can, but in a religious way, no.
It's not easy. And those who are against it are mainly the Muslims who came to your countries. Okay, that they are against it. I don't know exactly what's happening by you, Helen. Helen, it's in the Baltic, right? In the Baltic, I think that the Baltic were much more careful, not accepting so many Arabs inside, right? So in a bit more better situation, I will call it like that. Not that it's too much with the Christian, but it's not easy. It's not easy. One of my friends in the Baltic countries, okay, in Lithuania, he wrote down to me today that he is feeling like Europe is committing a suicide. This is what he said. Europe is committing a suicide because another 20 years now. By the way, the Arabs, the immigrants, Arabs are speaking this loud and clear. If you want, I can send you, videos. They're not afraid. They're saying, now we are just teaching, but another few years. Now, in Germany, one of the most important places in Germany, in Berlin, there are neighborhoods that they're not speaking in German, and the German are not feeling comfortable going inside there because everything there is Arabic. Saying to yourself, what is happening here? You know what's happening here? You want to know? I'm speaking more in a moral side, okay? I'm quoting again my friend from Lithuania. He's saying something very clear. He's saying something like, 80 years ago, we decided that we don't want the Jews here. So now we have no choice. We're accepting the non-Jews. when we decided, these were his words, okay, when we decided to demolish and to kill the Jews, basically, we put it on ourselves. Maybe it will take 70 years, maybe 80 years, maybe 90 years, maybe 100 years. But Europe will change because what we did to the Jews. Just like, this is his words, not mine, okay? Just like what happened to Spain. You know that Spain was in the golden time, where all the world was, with Spain and whatever it is, everything was there. And they decided one day to kick out all the Jews. It was a very hard situation with the Inquisition, and they killed a lot of Jews and they threw them out. And what happened to Spain since then? We all know. So my friend in Lithuania, he's saying this all the time. He's a Noahide also. He's not he was grown up as a Christian. One of the things that he told me, that he remembered from his parents the stories, that there was 5 years in Europe in the Holocaust time era, that you could have gone on the street, and if you will see a Jew, this is what his parents told him. This is what he told me more than once. That his parents told him that you can go on the street in those 5 years of the Second World War, and if you will see a Jew, you can kill him like a dog, like a cat, and nobody will ask you any questions. Think about this. It's insane to think about this situation. It's unbelievable. So this was happened in those 5 years. This is what his parents told him all the time. And when you think about this, again, in the moral situation, it's really a situation, hard situation. So let's jump inside for a moment and see one of the most mysterious chapters in the Bible that we read yesterday. Okay? And this is the chapter of the story of the fight between Jacob and Esau. Esau, angel. Okay? Let's jump inside to see it a bit. It's a very interesting story. First of all, we have a lot of questions before we starting to read. We all know the story, right? Remember that? The story is very simple. Jacob will stay by himself in one side of the river, and suddenly he will see a man opposing him. They will have a fight until the sun will rise, and this guy won't be able to defeat him, but he will be able to damage him. We need to understand where exactly, what exactly. And this man is want to go away because the sun is rising. So Jacob will ask him, why are you going? Why? And then he's blessing him. Your name won't be Jacob, it will be also Israel. After 2 chapters, God is also saying to him, your name is going to be Israel. Fair enough. What exactly this story? It happened. It was only a prophecy. It was something, in the imagination. What is the symbol of this story? What is the meaning of fighting against an angel? Did one of us saw once an angel? We didn't saw ever angel, not in our life, okay? It happened before more than 24 centuries. People saw angels. What is an angel? How can you defeat an angel? Good question, right? What is this story? Again, now we are old people already. We're not sitting in the kindergarten, and we know already that the Torah is also hiding a lot of ideas that are being symbolized inside the concept that we are reading. Okay? I will go with the first explanation. I know that I wrote it down, but I'm saying those things because it will explain also the situation that Europe is passing today. In some sort of a way. The first explanation that one of our sages is giving, he is the grandson of Rashi. Remember Rashi that all the time I'm bringing him? So Rashi had 3 girls, okay? But his 3 girls, all of them also had kids, and the kids also were very great sages. And one of the grandkids wrote also explanation on the Torah, and he's saying something very, very amazing. He's saying that when Jacob prepared himself to speak or to see or to do something against Esau, and he sent him also presents, and he also prayed to God, another thing that he wanted to do is to run away. He didn't want to confront, no, to have a fight against against Esau. He wanted to run away. And he said that this is also what God is expecting him. God is expecting from him to run away and not to put himself inside the danger. No one is being, I will say, addressed to go inside to the danger. So the angel of Esau came and said to him, you're not going to run away. You're going to see Esau because God promised you that he's going to save you. And Jacob fighted. He still wanted to run away. So the angel had no other possibility except for damaging Jacob in his leg so he won't be able to run away. This is why Jacob became limped, or he limped since then for the few days. I don't know how much, but a few days. Because the angel of Esau wanted them to meet one each other. And at this point of time, when they met, they had a very good hug and very good kissing one to each other. Let's not forget, they were twins. They were twins that started together in their mother's womb. I will say it in a different way. I don't know how many of you met once twins in your life. Maybe you met, maybe you were also part of a twin. But twins have some sort of a connection, a very symbiotic connection. And each one of the twins always have also part of the other one inside him. So we can also explain that Jacob fighted against Esau that is inside him. You can say this also, okay? The verse is a bit hinting something like that because it says in Hebrew, "Vayivater Yaakov levado." Jacob was stayed alone. Now the word levado is not only alone. In Hebrew, you know already that in Hebrew, each word also have few meanings. The word levado is also the word of clothings. Now I need to explain this a bit. How do we do the clothings? Our clothings that we're wearing here, how do we do this? We're taking strings, right? And we're putting them in a way that it's getting, suddenly a full way of that you can wear them. It's what we call bad, okay? Levado, bad, we call this material that you can use it and wear the clothing, okay? So we're taking strings. This is what we do already for thousands of years. Taking strings and we're putting them in a way, up and down, and each one of them in a different way. Suddenly we have a wool that we put the wool, we're operating the wool, and it's becoming a sweater. It's something that we can wear, right? But this word, it's the same word. So it's something that is very connected one with each other, right? This is what we're wearing. So when we say, "Vayeter Yaakov levado," Yaakov stayed alone. It's not only that he stayed alone. He stayed with something only inside him. Who is inside Jacob? The part of Esau that is inside him. Just like Esau also have a part of him that is part of Jacob. Because they are twins. They are together. They came from the same womb. In the same time even. Not only, let me show you, for example. We know that Moses, Aaron, and Miriam were all three of them brothers, right? But they were in a different age, so they were not twins. No, none of them were twins with each other. And when Miriam is getting punished, let's see for a moment. I will show you this, please. Let me share the screen and let's run there. When Miriam is getting punished, so Aaron is saying something very amazing. Okay, so let's jump for a moment just to see it. It's in Numbers chapter 12. And when Miriam and Aaron, you see that? They spoke
Yes.
against Moses. And Moses didn't care. Didn't care, okay, about anything. And then God is addressing them. And he's saying to them that it's not good that they spoke against him. And now please read for a moment. Please read for a moment. Verses 10, 11, 12, and 13.
All right, verse 10. The cloud departed from above the tent, and behold, Miriam was afflicted with Sa'arat, white as snow. Aaron turned to Miriam, and behold, she was afflicted with Sa'arat. Aaron said to Moses, Please, my master, do not hold us accountable for our sin, for we acted foolishly and sinned. Let her not remain like a dead person, for since she also came out of our mother's womb, it is as if half our flesh is consumed. Moses cried out to God, saying, Please, God, please heal her.
Okay, so first of all, Sa'arat is a very hard, what we call a very hard illness, okay? It's an illness that if you continuous with this illness, part of your body is just falling down, okay? It's a very hard illness. We don't have it today, thank God. We had it until 100 years ago in this world, but today we don't have it with the progress of the medicine. But it was a very, very hard illness. And what exactly Aaron is saying to Moses, okay? It is like if half of our flesh is consumed. Now, they were not twins. They were brothers. And even though one brother to another brother is like one flesh, because we went out from the same womb. Okay? So, for sure, if you're speaking about Jacob and Esau, that were twins. So the first explanation that we have for this story is that I will say, the angel or the one that is representing spiritually, okay, Esau came to Jacob and said to him, look, you must meet him. You must have some sort of a connection with each other because you are brothers together. And Jacob wanted still to run away. Therefore, what this angel did, he harmed his leg, so he won't be able to run away. This is the first explanation that I'm giving. No, sorry. Let's go 32. Okay, and this is the first explanation. But there is another explanation, and I want to go inside to the other one also. It's an excellent chapter. I'm urging you to read this chapter. Okay, and let's go to another explanation. Okay, and let's read again. Let's read those verses from 25 till 29, please.
Okay, 25. Scroll down a little.
Okay, please.
And Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. When he saw
Dan, we lost you. I lost you. We lost you. We can't hear you. What happened? It's me? Unbelievable. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, but we lost Dan. Okay, so I'm going, let me share this again and let me say a few words. Okay, I'm not going to read all of this. Okay, excellent, Dan. Let's do it again. Okay, please.
Okay, we were on 26. And he saw that he could not prevail against them. He touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip became dislocated as he wrestled with him. And he, the angel, said, "Let me go, for dawn is breaking." But he, Jacob, said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, because you have commanding power with an angel of God and with men, and you have prevailed."
We have the Ramban, okay? He's not the only one, but we need to explain this a bit. Let me, I saw that Rabbi Hirschler came inside. Thank you very much. Good evening. In a moment, I'm going to give you the possibility to speak, and I will be quiet. But let me explain this a bit in a different way, all this situation. Basically, the situation, I will say there are three main points that we need to see here. There is, first, I will explain what is the meaning of the angel. Each nation in this world have, I will say, the ideology that they're trying to push inside this world. This ideology is this nation, I will say, angel, this nation concept, idea, this idea, okay? If we will go to the old Greeks, very soon we're going to have this Hanukkah, another week we're going to have 2 weeks, we're going to have next week we have Hanukkah, okay, and there is a fight, or there is some sort of a battle between the Hebrew nation and the old Greek nation. Okay, something like 3,000 years ago. But when you will go to the Greeks, they have the idea, the concept that they're going to give to this world. They are giving to this world how to think in a philosophical way, how to measure and to put the laws of nature inside to the mathematics, for example, okay? It's a big debate, 600 years, it's a big discussion, whatever it is, but this is something that they're going to inherit to this world. This is their angel, this is their idea that is happening here. Go to the old Egyptians. They were great builders. Until today, we don't know how they built those pyramids and how they did also this. By the way, they also gave us the stars, all the foundations of the stars, and I will look on the stars, whatever it is, about above. This is I will say, the angel of this, the idea, the concept. If you will go to the old Greeks, they will say to you that there is also what we call the concept of everything. Okay, Plato said it. So this is the angel of Esav. The angel of Esav is working, worshiping, understanding this world is very important. We need to have a lot of money, a lot of resources. We need to be strong. This is what I will say the concept of Esav. The concept of Jacob is to build up the spiritual side of the human being. And this is the restore that they have in the night time. What is the night time? The night time is the exile time of the Hebrew nation. When the Hebrew nation is not showing everything that they have to show because they are in the exile. So people are not listening to them. They're sitting down inside the ghettos. They're not being connected with the rest of the world. How did Jean-Jacques Rousseau is writing down 250 years ago already? He's saying, we all know that the Hebrew nation is reading different the Bible, and we need to wait until they will come back to their homeland in Israel. They will build up their places, they will have universities, and we will be able to listen what they have to say. Because in the time that they're in the exile, nobody is listening to them. And at this time also, the angel of Esav, okay, or the situation is that we have a lot of, from the Hebrew people, that all getting killed, like we saw along the exile, or that they changing their mind and moving from the Jewish nation to become Christians and getting lost. This is what we call the limp of Jacob. He is not standing strong because some of the Jewish people along history we got lost, or that they got killed, okay, because they didn't want to obey, to worship idolatry, or that they came, they moved to the other side to become Christians. And this is the limp of Jacob. And when this is going to stop, at the time that the sun is going to rise, every time in the Torah that it's written down that the sun is rising up, the meaning of this, it's hinting to the Messiah days. In the Messiah days, the Hebrew nation will come back, and this small nation with amount of people, very small nation, is becoming, a strong nation that the German chancellor will come today to Israel. This will happen today, okay? And will buy from Israel a lot of weapons to save the German nation from Russia. Billions, millions, okay? That he's doing an agreement today. It happened. Think about this for a moment. What happened 80 years ago? We started the evening with the story about 80 years ago. What happened 80 years ago? Where the Jews were? What happened to the Jews? And now what's happening is how much Germany needs Israel and willing to pay billions of dollars to get saved from Russia through the weapon that Israel organized. And we never started with attacking people just for our sake, good sake, because we want to be greater and bigger. This is the time that suddenly the angel of Esav, is saying, I need to go. I'm vanishing from history. You're going to be there. Your name is not going to stay Jacob. Jacob in Hebrew is doing a lot of all sorts of ways to come to the truth. It's going to be straight. Yashar. Israel is straight. Yashar. Everybody's going to see along history that you have something to give to the world in the straight way. And I need to go away. And he's blessing him. It's basically showing us, I will say in few sentences, what's happening in history. And now you can start to realize why my friend in Lithuania said, I'm feeling like we are for us, it's a sunset, we're committing suicide. This is his words. We are finalizing our days. We must get stuck, get connected with the Hebrew nation. By the way, this is what I answered him. There is a way of going out from this. We don't need to be in a pessimistic way, a pessimistic point of view. Get connected with the Hebrew people, and that's it. Become a Noahide, get connected with the Hebrew people, spread those words outside, and we'll manage. Not by ourselves. We will manage to change the world to a better place. And it will happen. It's happening. Okay? So this is where we're standing. And this is the situation of what we spoke. Now I will close my microphone. Unless you have a question, I will stick around and I will give Rabbi Hershler, that long time no see, to speak with us. Please, Rabbi Hershler. Rabbi Hershler, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Rabbi Hershler. Open your microphone. Rabbi Hershler, can you hear me? Open your microphone. He can't hear us. Let me try to call him. Just a moment. He's always saying good things. We can't lose those words. Just a moment. We lost him? No. We lost him. הרב שלו לא שמענו מילה, אתה צריך לפתוח את המיקרופון, תחזור חזרה, יאללה. לא, אני פותח אותך, לא, מה פתאום, אתה בטוח, אתה יכול. תנסה עוד פעם. טוב, בסדר, תודה. You will try again. Do you have any questions still now, or something that you want to ask? Please be optimistic, okay? Again, the Hebrew nation is coming here to bring the world to a better place. שמואל, בוא תנסה. עוד פעם, let me unmute you.
Touch right. You can change it better now.
You now, great.
Now you hear me okay?
Excellent.
Excellent. Okay. So in following what the Rabbi had mentioned, something really fascinating in relation to this as far as our history is concerned. As the Rabbi also mentioned, the Hanukkah festival beginning next Sunday night actually was our encounter with the Greeks. But if you take the course of the empires in ancient history, there were 5 of them. We had the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans. The Assyrians had taken 10 of the Israel tribes on exile. The Babylonians had destroyed the first temple. The Persians had brought upon Haman, who had almost tried to exterminate our people. The Greeks are related to this forthcoming festival. And the Romans, besides destroying the second temple, did a major massacre as a result of the Bar Kokhba revolt. And the ramifications of that, as far as casualties, exceeded even what the Second Temple's trauma was like. But the interesting thing is that if you look in perspective, and then at 2025, where we are now, what are these countries that were so vicious towards us? What are they doing today? Assyria and Babylon, you can read about them in the British Museum or visit them in Mesopotamia if you really like to. The Persians, the Iranians of today are not really the original Persians at all. They come from a different part and they just relocated to that area. The Greeks, the European Union endorsed them to keep them within the European Union, not because financially they do any good for them, but in order to maintain some holding in the Middle East. That's how poor financially and otherwise the Greeks are in practice. They're a nice nation, I must admit, but not overly successful in any other sense of the word. And Rome, well, Italy was a very famous place for many generations, but since the Middle Ages, they haven't won a single war directly that challenged against anybody else. And that was out of the most powerful empire in ancient history, the Roman Empire. As a matter of fact, the Rabbi had spoken about the encounter between Jacob and Esau. In the end of the portion we'd read yesterday, there was a whole list of the chiefs of Esau. And the one before the last, his Hebrew name was called Magdiel. And the commentary of Rashi there on the spot, Genesis 36, verse 43, mentions that refers to Rome. So essentially, Dan, we got yesterday all the way from Genesis and the time of Jacob and Esau, all the way to the year 70 of the Common Era, meaning only 1955 years ago, as if we were revisiting the history as the process had gone on. But in medieval thought, and the Rabbi taught various writings of the Kuzari and others, they identify Esau in their time as the Christians. And the truth is that Rome itself had gone through a major change in the middle of the 3rd century. Rome initially was, after the temple was destroyed, was a paganist, less anti-Semitic country due to the fact they had general tolerance of all types of religions. When the Christians took over Rome in the mid-3rd century, they got rid of paganism, which indeed is one of the purposes of the Bible, but their anti-Semitism intensified by far. And when you think about Esau, who was born from the same mother, not only the same father as Jacob, and that hatred, and Jesus himself originated from a Jewish home. As a matter of fact, if he was born on the 25th of December, then the 1st of January is when he had his circumcision, because he was raised in a Jewish home and even a relatively observant home in the early times. So the fact of our survival and growth is one of the fascinating miracles which are continuous in our outlook towards life. I just gave you a very brief summary of the 5 major empires of ancient history and what is left of them and where we are, God willing, and with his blessing today. That's something which I feel happy to share with you as an observation that we should have, that despite all our trials and tribulations, not only in the last 2 years, but in general, and now in various parts of the world, the hatred is intensifying. But a lot of it relates to jealousy, and not because of anything of major substance. As one intelligent person once said to me, there are two types of people. There are people that you're jealous of and people that you have mercy for. And he said, I'd rather by far be in a situation that people are jealous of me than having mercy for me. Because who do you have mercy for? A person who's in a major downfall is not a business competitor or in any sense of the word. So before he lays down to rest in peace, sorry for using an expression of that nature, we have a tendency of having some mercy for him once he's not in the competition any longer. But if all of a sudden, out of the blue, he will become again influential and important, then people will not feel obliged towards him at all. So in that sense, the fact that the Jewish nation is getting a lot of reaction of jealousy from around the world, I don't think it's something to be too antagonized about. It's something to be proud of indirectly, that at least the mission and the morality that we are trying to bring forward to the world of today is something which is moving forward. And people have a difficulty to encounter that, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that they don't have enough commitment, devotion, and maybe understanding of what proper morality should be. But by no means should we surrender any of that important thought in favor of compromising the truth. And that, by the way, is one of the features of Jacob in general. We found later in the prophets, Titen emet liYaakov. The fundamental element of Jacob is to seek the truth. And if some people it doesn't sound popular to them, so it isn't popular. But at least it's the truth, and we are determined to try to bring a message of morality, peace, love, and truth to a world that needs far more decency than what we see today. That's what I'd like to share with you at this moment, but I would also happily hear comments or questions on what I have presented.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Hirschler. So good to see you. It's been a while since we've had you on. Yeah, we're glad you're here. Anybody got a comment or question for one of the rabbis? Everybody's quiet today.
Sunday.
Be shocked. Everything is fine. Everything will be fine. The world is going to progress to the next level. It's okay. With the help of God and with our help also.
For sure.
Ellen always is not smiling. She's not smiling unless I'm asking her. Please smile. Yes.
Actually, one day, if I'll have a chance to give another talk on this English date on some occasion, I know what I would have spoken about today, but that's not in this session, is about Pearl Harbor, which was today, December 7th,
right,
and was a Sunday, and the ramifications of that day to our world today are hard to imagine. And I actually gave an Israel talk about it the other day, about its meaning 84 years back, and it's still something in the background of our culture. That's another thing one day to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Well, I think us here in Canada are still trying to figure out what is our identity, and I don't like the direction the Liberals have taken the direction of the country in the last 10, 12 years. It's crazy. But our friend Angelica's doing what she can. She's got a meeting with her local MP, and she's trying to be influential, and that's great news, and it's always a joy to try to leave that footprint of making the world a better place, for sure, wherever you are. Did you want to tell them about that, Ange?
I think, Dan, can I say something about that? I know, believe me, I see what's happening in Canada. It's not so easy. We have tonight, an hour ago, one of our great people that is dealing a lot with the Arabic side. He published, he started to publish a series of videos of TV shows, TV show about Canada and what's happening there regarding to the immigrants from the Arabic, from the Muslim world.
Yeah, the problem is not when they come in a certain quantity. We find they integrate if they come in small groups. It's when they come en masse, like 50,000 at a time, that they just refuse to integrate. They just, make their own little community. And we see that in major cities all across Canada, like Toronto. In Vancouver, you've got Chinatown, and you've got like Little Italy in Toronto, and Greektown. And, the point is, if they come en masse, it overwhelms the system, and they end up getting their own interpreters, and they don't learn the language, and they don't integrate. And so there's no melting in the melting pot. And I've had to deal with some when I was doing property management and managing a few apartments. Especially when they're trained from overseas to come in illegally and try to circumvent the system. And I remember leasing apartment to two of them, and one wanted off the lease, and so we legally have to let him off the lease here in British Columbia, leaving the other one who couldn't afford the apartment on his own. So he brings in another fellow who's not on the lease to share the apartment, and then he tries to leave and get off the lease and leave the one we don't have tenancy with. And I tried to call his bluff, and he's here on a student visa, but he's claiming he works for this one company. And the reality is, our laws are set up in such a way, if you start looking for them, he wasn't allowed to work off campus. If you're here as a student, you can't work off campus without your visa being stamped, giving you permission to work off. And so, it turns out he's working illegally. Anyways, I caught him because he tried passing a overseas license as his ID that didn't look like him. It was obviously fake ID. But the point being, the games people play, and we find with the Islamists, is they're rabidly deceptive. They lie through their teeth for gain, and it's manipulative, and it's exploitive, and so I see in Quebec they're talking about they banning the burqa in schools and a few places, and a lot of little things across the country. But we see this more from the U.S. Where Minneapolis and Dearborn, Michigan, and come the new year, New York under Zoran Mamdani is going to be interesting to hear more come out of New York. But you're starting to see the sentiment sour across the general Christian population for sure, but people aren't stupid, and they don't accept lies, and it's going to escalate. And we hear of stories in Europe and the UK especially overrun with problems because of
they've also come to a conclusion actually in the eastern of Canada about taking out all religions, and I'm like, there's my thing.
They're going to end up restricting Christianity because they can't show it as a prejudice. Right.
And all others. But this is where my MP is now saying, what are the Noahide laws? Question. I said, it's not a religion. It has to do with morality. So forget all the religion and just start with morality. And let's go.
There's religious roots, but it doesn't mean it's not technically.
It's not a religion. It is a way of life, and if people understand it,
we're coping with it here. And heaven forbid I got to face the day where I got to face them in the streets. It's not going to be. I'm not one to back down, and it's not going to get polite if it happens in my streets. So. I know many others with the same mindset, and so heaven forbid it escalate, but watching closely in Europe. Bart, how about you in Belgium? What's it like there? Nope, everybody's quiet.
Mhm. Fair enough. I think that next week, Dan, if I remember correctly, it's already Hanukkah. Rabbi Hirschler?
Yes,
That's
and
what
I'm
it
on.
is. Not in America, but in Israel, yes.
Yes, I won't be able to have a meeting next week. We have 2 weeks from now, yes, even though it's still Hanukkah. But next week I have something with the friends and family at night. So for me, I won't be able to be
Enjoy it.
Okay.
available. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm doing with Rabbi Schulman next Sunday as well. So I've got 3 sessions. So yeah,
Excellent.
good timing. So we'll hold off for 2 weeks. So are we winding it down for today, Rabbi?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Everybody's quiet, everybody's shocked from today. It's okay. We shocked everybody.
So happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody. Bye.
All right. We're going to head out for now, folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll be back with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg in 2 weeks from today. Hanukkah starts next Sunday night. So happy Hanukkah, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Bye for now.